Okay, so can everyone see my screen now? Right? If everyone's prepared, and I will start to content this course. And hello everyone, my name is Jackie, and today we're going to talk about the exterior construction design, mainly focus on the garden and on some constructions to draw out in our design case. Okay, so actually for this topic, about a month ago, we already conducted one, but that's mainly focused on our roof. Okay, we are focused on the building roofs, how to build up the top and how to generate the details. But today we are going to talk about another topic. It's about those decorations in our garden. And actually today we are still focused on the outside exterior, but we need to use our tool, mainly focus on the floor plan and the decoration, draw yourself, and the construction free drawing. So this is our topic, okay, for today, mainly focus on this one. And also we will see some of the advanced using, for example, the loft and the offset and some of the detail operations. I hope you can get a proper markdown and try to practice after the class. All right. So before we go to start, let's get some review. Okay, the reviewing. That's about the topic about the outside area. We need at least two conditions. First is the room. We need to draw out the room, but this room is not the indoor, it's not the indoor design, but it's to draw out the fully square. That is about to be our terrace area. Okay, the total area in our design tool. So whatever you want to do, once if you need to draw out the whole space, the garden, all the environment outside the normal room, you need to bring another big one. For example, we need to draw out a room. Okay, this is indoor. Whatever you contains another small room or another, that's all for indoor. But today you need to roll down your mouse on the wheel and give a much bigger area, for example, like that, okay, to fully cover the edge of these rooms. And then we can have a better square or whatever if you want to adjust the edge to curve, okay, into curve area and whatever you want to move, okay. And then you can have a square that's called the garden, the exterior area, okay. And also pay attention here, the room as the terrace. So you need to click this floor and change the room type to the terrace, okay. Why we need that? Before we already talked about, right? Because you need to remove the ceiling. You don't need the ceiling to disturb you. So this is the exterior, the very basic one, okay? And also just pay attention here. You need to click your walls, okay? You need to click your walls. And then also after finish the selecting, click draft. And later we will refine the border. So this height you need to adjust 0, or you exactly need that draft. You can adjust the height, for example 200, and then you can have that border. Later we can use this border to draw out our decoration. Of course you can leave a little detail height, but of course you can remove it, turn to 0, it will turn to 1, okay. So this is the condition, the precondition that we can build up our garden or the exterior area, all right? And also, another thing is the construction free drawing, right? And this contains all of our design tools. Even sometimes if you want to design a very big, for example, the park, right? The big park or some big constructions and commonly, okay? So you can do all the thing you can you want in the design case, okay? In the design case. But here, before we access to the small park, we need to focus on one thing, okay? That's the content, actually the content today. If you want to draw out, the precondition is the room as the terrace. But later, we might focus the space dividing from our construction. So first is the zero height, okay? And also by zero height, we need to draw some hole diggings, okay? So first, let's take a look here. Let's check in 3D. If this is, okay, this is the indoor area, these are the outside exterior. So we can see here, this is the floor. And with that floor, we can have a zero height. That's what we see here. If you're holding down your mouse downward, you can't see it. And if you're holding up, this is a zero height. We need to confirm the zero height beforehand. Okay, so if this is our zero height, then all the rest, okay, most of the rest elements, the exterior elements, will be put onto it, right, onto it. And also here, we are not only talk about the zero height. For most of the time in the outside area, you need to build up some, for example, extrusion. That's some area on the top, okay, above the zero height, right? For example, the slab, okay, or some of the maybe some floors, some of the other elements, the stones, the rocks, okay, the greens. So that's the extrusion above it. And also here, another very important thing is the hole digging. And the hole digging let us to dig the hole, dig the area, to see something below that zero height, which what we call the sunken area. So this becomes our main focus today. We need to focus on these three. What is the extrusion? Okay, zero height. Normally we can put some sofa, some other decorations. Okay, that's easy. But also we need to tackle this thing, the sunken area. Sometimes the swimming pool, right? Sometimes maybe some stage, okay? And even sometimes you need to go downward, for example, the parking area under the building. That's also what we call the sunken area. So this is the content today. So let's start from the above, okay? The extrusion, because just now we finished the zero height confirming. That's here, and what we call this one. About the extrusion, most of you might think this time, do I need to go to the floor editor, right? If you go to the floor editor, all the decoration, all the designing, they are paired on the top. Okay, that's the pair way. So I don't need that. And this time I need something it contains the changings, okay, the flowing area. So how can we do that? You can go to advanced tool, still construction free drawing. That's our main topic, one of the main topics today. So we can go there. And of course, you can draw out, for example, just like this, you can draw out the slope. For example, here, use the rectangle, right? And draw out, for example, you can use some surface that is just right on the vertical to this floor, for example, like that. Or you can draw out. If you can't draw on the edge, you can use the guideline. This is the guideline. Borrow one border to put, right? And you can draw the rectangle from this, okay, this line to draw out. Just take one easy example, and to draw out what we call the cut face or the section, okay, the section surface. You can use the line to click to draw out. Okay, this is the free drawing. This is free drawing. But if you really have some exact requirement of the height, the gap, the height gap, you can also use, for example, the guideline. Okay, very easy sample. Let's see here. If my start point here is lower than the highest point, for example, let's say this only contains 100 millimeter, and here I need to go above, for example, 900 millimeter, and then I can have this gap, right? And then I can use the line to directly from intersection point to intersection point. Once I draw out this section face, I can just directly use the push and pull. You can move, and then you can have, for example, like the slope, okay, and then continue. Still, you can draw onto it. For example, you can directly to cut the area to use the rectangle to draw out and give some different pavings, okay, whatever it is, the sand or the stone or other, for example, the concrete. You can just directly to put different areas. Okay, that's very easy and very easy to understand and to use. Okay, this is the very normal, very regular, okay, very regular constructions. However, sometimes we might see something in very normal. Okay, that's not like a very pale, a very flat area. You need some changes. That's another topic. So in this way, you can't use this one, right? You can't use this function. It's very standard. It can't match your demand. So what can we do? Here, I strongly recognize you to use the third-party elements. For example, here, I already upload some of the slope surface. Okay, that's on the flow. You can see it's changeable. These elements can be put via your, for example, 3D Max or SketchUp. Some installed. Okay, the SketchUp the area, and you can build up. Okay, you can build up some of the very detailed areas, and then to put the models, or you just directly need to draw out. For example, after you put upload some of the models, you can move them directly to the edge. For example, to the edge of the construction. Of course, when you put something, you need to pre-build. Okay, pre-build the area that might intersect to these models. So this is the pre-doing. You need to have some third party the profile and then upload like that. Of course, after finish all this building like the slope and the area third party from 3D Max when you're doing that. And also you need to focus on the construction, for example, this or this, right? Because what you build, those construction actually stands inside some of the slope, and you need to build up in the area to leave some gap, okay, to leave some gap. So by this way, if you want to do something very, very easy, you can just to find out some of the villa model that also contains in the public library. For example, villa, you can search for that. You have so many choices, okay? However, I still need to let you know that some of the villa can't be put directly, because when you put some model here, you can see here that's very pale, and you can see the button. When you're holding down the control button to put, see, it's sunken. Okay, it's sunken. and some of the area doesn't fit this slope. So I suggest you to search for some of the model that is proper when you're using. For example, this is one kind of the example. You see, because here this building, the default setting avoided. Okay, here there's the avoid area. It already do some prepper work. So when you put the model, see, just fine to fit your demand. Okay, this area just fine to fit your demand, or your third-party profile need to get a well fit before you put onto our Coohom design system. You can use some other models. Just pay attention here. The backwards, most of the times the backwards, you need some gap. Okay, presetting some gap for this function for this. Okay, and also here I have some of the model. You can see the slope surface available to put. Okay, these are all those models in public library you can use to directly to put onto it. Okay, whatever is like that is like that. Okay, and you can just directly put. Just pay attention. Just pay attention about the height above the floor. See here, distance from ground. Okay, try to adjust to proper area and to put. So this is about some of the constructions and the models. You need to upload some, okay? And then you can finish some of this, the landscape design, like that, right? But this is something about extrusion. Extrusion here, you need to use some third-party profile, okay? Upload and then finish that. However, we still have another design case, and most of the time this is suitable for our to do the practice. Just now we talk about extrusion. You need to upload the landscape, the shape, okay, the shape of the landscape. And from here we will talk about another situation that mainly focus on the surface, okay, the zero height surface. So about this kind of case, I will show you how to do properly in our case today. For example, this time I delete this one. Still, we need to focus on this one. Okay, this is the internal area. Just ignore it. We need to start our construction in the backyard. Okay, in this backyard, right? From the very beginning, you need to dig the hole, because here, if you select this area as the zero height surface, all this construction below it will require your visible area. You need to see from here to downward. So this area need to dig the hole. So about our hole digging, you need to go to floor plan to find the holes. Okay, so before we access to the tool preset, see here, floor hole. Just pay attention. Somebody requires to mute your micro. Okay.
Jackie, you mute yourself.
Now it's okay, right?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So just now we talked about you need to dig that hole beforehand. So here, still floor plan, dig that hole, click, and now you need to draw out. You need to draw out, for example, here. When you put your mouse here, it will automatically recognize out the border, and you can start drawing. For example, draw like this. Okay. It also got the size. Okay, you can put your mouse just to move and put some of the number. For example, this 6 meter, and here to give the gap. For example, still I need another area. Just move your mouse, okay? Here, 2.5 or 2 meter, right? And to put, you can see this one. You can see here, it's at the square, at the center, you got a square, and you can continue, see, to, oh, wait a second, dig the hole, drawing out. Just let your mouse recognize out the horizontal direction or vertical direction. Okay, 2. Then we find that 19-degree direction and let your mouse automatically recognize. See, if you can't find that continue, you can put your mouse, let them recognize out. See, click again, continue, year 2000, and give the gap. Now you can dig that hole. And also for digging this hole is not the end, because you can continue to draw out. For example, here you have that bridge, right? You can continue to move. See, if you want to adjust, of course you can move like that. Okay, you can move like that. Click this mouse. Okay, to move up, move up. See, and in 3D now you can see you can have the excellent hole here, and then you can draw out the center corner, okay, to draw out. And also in 3D, we can now finish the very basic one. And then for continuing, let's get started with the details. Okay, so first here you can see we have a stage drawing. We have the very basic area. If you don't want to tackle this material beforehand, you want to later, you can do it. And you can pre-do this. For example, public library, you can find some tiles or some other finishes onto the floor. For example, I just put some concrete, right? In order to let you see clearly, you can put, of course, you can find this with some of the shape, right? And you can also go to floor editor, but later we will talk about it. And this time we just need to draw out this area. Okay, this is first the stage drawing and also the poolside drawing. Okay, so for this part and this center area, you can just use the advanced tool, the construction. And since now we already had the gap, so just use the rectangle to draw out, right? First, you can draw out like this. Okay, if you can't see clearly, don't worry, add some guideline. For example, the gap. Okay, and this we contains another gap, but you can change the distance to edge. For example, this, since we have 2.5 meter, so here we can have also another, let's say 250, yeah, and this also 250. Put your mouse, okay, avoid the hole that you dig. Okay, put your mouse onto other area. You can see now, you can see the distance to gap, right? And then you can now to draw out. Also give a gap like this. Let's get some intersection area, and you can see like that, right? And also use the push and pull. Okay, of course you can let this zero height surface just leave like that, right? You can put up a little bit in order to announce you, but also you can put downward. See that you can put downward because this is the dual surface. You can put downward, and also for example 1.3, 1.2, 1.2 meter, and now you can confirm this area that would be the downward the pool, okay, the pool side. And also here just finish with the rectangle. We need to draw out all this area, for example like that. Give the gap, intersection point, and then you just need to delete. You need to delete some of the edge. Okay, of course here you can clear the guideline in order to let yourself see clearly. Okay, and now you can have this area to use the push and pull to pull downward. And now you can see our pool side finished. Of course, you don't need the exact height. You can just lower a little bit and make it proper, right? And in order to confirm that I have the proper distance, I can also mark down 1.2, very low, 90. Got it. So guideline 900, and you can click the Z, okay, the alphabet Z. Here we have the measure 225. So in order to have a better view, 225. Now I have a very proper edge, okay. And also here a very useful tips for you. If you want to edit this pool, inside this pool, you need to lower your viewing. Okay, you can't click via the top viewing. See, you can't click those surface. You need to lower down, and now you can see. Okay, and just pay attention. We need to delete some of the useless line. For example, like this one. Okay, if you can't click, you can change from top view to walk view. In walk view, you may have a better chance to change. Okay, to change. In top view, see here, you can just to change to other direction and move your mouse. All right, and try to delete this line, the waistline. Here, the same. Let's use this because later we need to refine the detail. So you need to delete all this useless line. And now let's check. Yeah, this one very clear. And then you need to build here the stage drawing. And about this kind of a stage, you can just draw out here. I use the rectangle. And of course, if you want to draw on the surface, you can draw like that. Okay, here because I need to expand the edge, so the same, go downward, give a better gap. Let's say 6 is enough. 6, maybe too big one. Get a better view. 500. This one the same. All right. And if you want to make it bigger, the same here. To pull, you can also to pull up or pull down. I need some of the gap calculation. Okay, 3.5. About this is 2.5. Okay, so I can leave 1 meter more. Same here. Add 1 meter. Right. And even this time, you can just build up the rest part, and also to give the gap. For example, to draw out to here, and now you can leave the gap. For example, this the height, the gap height, 300 or 250.
Có lầm mất xí.
Okay, by using the table. Okay, use the table to change. Okay, so here the same, and this one 80. All right, and you can change. And you can continue to draw. And now you can use the push and pull. Okay. Of course, you need to dive in. See, you can move the gap, for example, 300. And this one, much bigger, 600. And lower that. Just to move. If you can't see clearly, change another angle to use the push and pull. 90. And now you can have some more gaps. See, now you can have the gaps. All right. Of course, if you want to have a very proper calculation, I suggest you need to calculate. For example, this one we have 750, and we divide it by 3. Okay, divide it by 3, and you can have the proper outcome. Let's say 200. 500. We'll change another angle. Meet the gap. Okay, and for some of the rest part, you can leave it or you can just give more. Just if you can't, you can find out the gap just to pull. Okay, but pay attention. If you move some of the area, you see there's some useless surface. You don't need to do it in a hurry because you need to draw out a proper rectangle in order to help you to pull out 1 meter. You see here. Okay, the same thing happened here, this side, and then you can finish all this drawing. So this is the stage. You can draw like that, all right? And also, if you have some more detail to draw, you can, of course, use the offset here, okay, the decoration. You can draw out some decoration, or here I give you another very useful way. That is the loft, okay? You have a function called the loft. However, before you use that loft, here you need to draw out. You need to draw out the section surface. Okay, the section surface. Let's give an example. For example, here, use the rectangle. You need to draw out on the surface. Use the add guideline. Put it here, right? Move the guideline onto it. But here you also need another guideline. Okay. Make it proper. You can, of course, to get a better edge, the better decoration, the very small one. Okay. Okay, I need to dive downward the zero surface, and then click all this edge. Okay, holding down your shift button, select more, and now see here you have the loft. Still dive and click. Now you can have the gap. You can see the decoration, the gap, okay, to cover all this area. Okay, and also for the rest of the part, you need to get some water surface. But before that, I need to put some more material onto it. Okay, of course you can continue to use the concrete. You can use some of more decorations elements. Here, a very useful way. Let's holding down shift button, double click, and now all this construction free drawing can be selected, and you can click the group. Once you group them up, you can just put the concrete material, concrete, okay, and you directly put them, and all of them will be selected. Same here, holding down shift button, group, concrete, directly. Okay, let's wait a minute, and it will change. Okay, it will change. Right, so this is the stage drawing. And how about the water surface? Just pay attention here. Of course, we can directly use some of the material from our normal model. Okay, just be careful. You need to put the water surface on the zero height floor. Right, so let's turn back to design page and find the dynamic water. You can search water or dynamic. Okay, so in water here, you can find some of the elements. So this is movable. This is movable in the roaming video. Okay, just around half months ago, we've talked about how to use it. And also just pay attention here, the model size. Don't select those very small one. Try to select the bigger one. For example, I search for dynamic, maybe faster. dynamic. Okay. This size may be suitable for my construction, so I put it here, right? This one, it can cover over half of the area, but it's not enough, so I need to scale them. Okay, scale up, make it bigger. Okay, well, of course you can change. Okay, just to cut the scale directly, I need to only change one of the border. Okay, one of the border size. I don't need that much big. Change a little bit. All right. Just cover all the edge, but also here, 3D moving, you need to put downward a little bit. Okay, see that difference? If you fully cover above 0 height, then all this will be sunken under the water. So you need to put it down, because here we have the base. Okay, the base is 0 height and the water is below. So just pay attention here. And also this border, this stone, the concrete border, will help you to cover the edge, which looks in normal. Okay, it's unnatural to see the water edge. So you need to put downward. Okay, under 0 height floor. All right, and also let's continue with some decorations above. So first, in order to let you know, here I will show you how to use some lofting to draw the, for example, this decoration. This is the stone decoration. If you want to put some of the decor, you can of course draw out. For example, advanced tool. Maybe someone need to mute the mic. Hello? All right. And now here, construction. Still, continue if you want to draw out that decor stone. You can use this one. Okay, you can use this rectangle with the circle, to draw out. Here, I show you some of the way to draw. For example, first, use the circle to draw out a very small round, and then add guideline, borrow one on the center point, okay, to draw by use the rectangle to draw out. Here, of course, you can draw out the shape just on the surface is okay. And then here, give the arc to cut the surface. Okay, you put, of course, here, this one, I think I need a much bigger border. So still borrow another, for example, to draw out. And here use the arc. Okay, delete the useless surface or the line, and click here. If you try this loft, what will happen? Do you know if I try to loft it, what will happen? Click the loft. First, click the roots or the path. Click here, and then use the loft. This time, it will disappear. Okay, you can't see that. You can't use the dual arc, okay, or dual curve line to do this loft, right? You can't do. But how can we do that? But how can, if I really want this shape, how can we do? Don't worry, here I help you. Don't use rectangle this time. See that we try polygon. Okay, try polygon. You have the multi phrases of the edge. Still intersection point to draw out. And here, number of edges. You can add up, for example, to maximum 60 and radial just at the border, right? And this time, how's the result? Can we do it? Can we do it? Click. Let's try. Still not here. Why? Because still you use the curve, okay, the curve line. So any possibility for us to draw out? Of course, yes, here. Still, we need to change the curve line to phrases, okay, to some subsections. For example, dot, dot, some other dot, okay. Don't use the curve line, but use some dot. But why we still need to draw out a curve? Do you know? The curve will help us to set the position, the exact position of the line. We just need to use the line to cut them, okay? And now this time, can we do it? Let's try. See? And also the final thing, duplicate one dot to another. And now we finish some decker stone by that. Okay, we finish that decker stones. And holding down Shift button, multi-select, group them up. What if you want, for example, the concrete? Give another stone. Give another area, the paving. Of course, this requires a little time. And now we finish one. Of course, you can duplicate some more, okay, to draw out. But this, of course, requires a little bit of operating. And now you can have some decorations. Just pay attention about the time. Let them finish calculating. And then we can have some decorations, right? And also about the pavilion. Later, I will tell you how to do it on the other side, all right? And let's continue to finish this one, construction free drawing, this kind of pavilion. Okay, but this is much simple because you have already have the shape. That's the square, okay, quite big, a big square, even bigger than this area. And then use some of the tool, the construction free drawing, the tool to draw out the roof. And you can also, let's see here, you can also see, first, still use the rectangle. I need a very basic surface, okay, very basic surface. Once I draw out, I can move up. But how can I tell that it's on the horizontal? So before I move this one, move this surface. Before I move this surface, I can use the guideline to help me to draw out. Okay, just wait a minute. Slow. The process is undergoing. But I think I've saved that, so let me get fresh. Reload it. Okay. So this one, I just need to copy one of the square and go up, and we can try to build Okay, build a very basic construction. Just wait a minute. Hope this time would be faster because the internet is slow. And I also not sure if you can see smoothly or with some with some limitation of the internet. Still modeling editor, that's the same. Advanced tool, construction, free drawing. Here, properly saved. Maybe delete one might be faster. Just wait a second. Okay, I need to guideline the guideline to help me, right? This one, yes, and give this border, borrow one of the border, for example. First draw out, and also to copy it, duplicate. This one, duplicate, yes. And on the z-axis, select the correct surface. Okay, move up, or use the duplicate. All right, I personally suggest you to use the duplicate because you can see your mouse. And also here, offset a little bigger. Okay, move your mouse according to the direction. You can see here distance changing, and leave that distance with proper gap, for example 400 millimeter. Okay, and you can delete the internal line, and now you can have the basic roof, and also here to draw the section surface, for example a border, second border with gap. All right, and also here still use the guideline to draw, to borrow it. Yeah, you need to mark out this axis. Okay, the axis you need to mark out, and also use this rectangle to draw out just on the surface, right? And what's the detail? One border, one level of the border, two level with maybe three different elements. So still I can see here, draw out the border. Of course, I can click here in 2D. Okay, in 2D, it might seem much better. Okay, use the rectangle, for example, this one, the first cover, the second cover, right? Third, bigger, okay, and even here, and delete all this useless line and the surface. Okay, let's see, right? And now click the roofs. Okay, let the shape go around it by using this loft. First click the roofs, okay, the roof, and then click the loft and click this surface, and now you can have that. See that? You can directly have this shape. The same thing happened if you want to draw out internally. For example, here you still want to draw out something, you can continue to draw. Okay, hold, loft. See, continue by using this edge. Okay, by using these edges, and then you can build up. Of course, sometimes you might see here, okay, I can have this one, but I want some top of the roof. How can we do it? Actually, see here, you have so many guidelines, right? This time, continue use the guideline, dot to dot, okay, the corner point to corner point. In this case, we can successfully have the center point, and then just use the guideline to borrow one very basic line. I might find one. Wait a second, I find this one to put at the center intersection point. And now you can see I find this intersection point, and all the rest, okay, the monitoring or the line to draw out the triangle will be set basically on the center. For example, use the line, point to point, okay. How is the height? You can directly use this guideline to help you. For example, first, intersection point, this is the 0. Let's say we need a 700, not hard, not very high, 700. And now this point is the top. So I can put my mouse here to mark out the endpoint to endpoint and continue drawing with another endpoint. Finish one. Let's continue with the line. This time, first you finish one rectangle, the triangle, and you can continue to draw with the rest two. Okay, only needed 2 drawing, and now you can have the top and continue with deleting. See, you can have that roof. All right. So what about the rest of the part? Actually, it's not hard. For example, I just draw one column. Okay, I draw one column and 2 beam. And for the rest, you can try with the same logic. So here, if I want to draw here, still use the rectangle. Okay. In order to give a proper position, I still need to borrow one line or use the letter T. Okay, borrow one line. If let's say 400, same here, 400. Use the rectangle. Draw with same here with the same length and width. For example, 300, 300, and you draw one proper. Okay, if you can't see clearly, try to click this, okay, this shape, and use the push and pull. Okay, use the push and pull, because here it's on the 0 height. So sometimes you might find it really hard to tell the gap, but no worries. Okay, no worries. Once you use the push and pull, or you use the duplicate to make it higher above, the 0 surface, and you can use it. Still use the guideline. If this one is hard to, try to use another. Still here. Still guideline. First, find the intersection point, and to draw out a very basic line. for example, like this one, and to draw the basic, this time get 300. And about the width, actually it's the very basic, the base, okay, the baseline, the baseboard, draw out, and to push and pull, okay, because I need to get them here with 300. And now you can have this baseline. All right, continue drawing with offset. Let's say 50. And give the push and pull 230. You can continue with the line. See that? This one, the same. Yeah, you can continue to draw like that. But also here you can see the border. So continue using the offset. See? And now push and pull. Push up the same, for example, 20. And also here, up 20. Now you can have border. All right? Okay, for the column, actually it's not hard, just drawing out. I believe you all got it, right? That's true. Just directly to draw. But before that, I need a small one. For example, this continue, shrink about 30, and pull up. Okay, if you can't see clearly, get a top view. Better to know. On top, okay. Of course, you can't draw like that. It's too high. Just attach the board, okay, attach the border, and now you can see the detail, right? The same thing happened when you want to draw out for the rest, the other part. Of course, you can hold it down, shift button, double click, get a duplicate, right? And click. Now I can have another round. Just now, how much is the distance to edge? 400, I believe. Yes. Okay. Click, duplicate. And just need to remember when you go duplicate, point to point. Click this point to put this point. Okay. Same thing here. Duplicate. Border 400 to the border. Holding down shift button, duplicate. Okay. This point, that would be this part, endpoint to endpoint. And now you can have this basic pavilion. Okay, and also for the rectangle to draw out the beam. Okay, this is the beam of the pavilion that's onto the bottom to support this roof. That's on the bottom side. Okay, you can just continue use. If you feel like, okay, that's too much guidelines ignoring, you can clear the guideline temporarily, right? And then use the guideline again. And now I need to mark down how much is that. For example, mark this area, right? And to put this line. Okay, if you want to mark out the exact distance, you can draw a rectangle. Draw a rectangle internally. Okay, this is shading. So I need to draw out by borrowing these two lines. And now I can have a shape and continue to draw. Go to mark down this side, right? Ungroup. Now this shape here, I find that point. I find a point that contain that conflict the curve face. So just borrow one line. Okay. Now I can successfully mark out here. That's the intersection point. Let's go with the rectangle. Finally, if you find the intersection point, you can draw out. For example, this line is about 140. So 140 becomes the shape. Okay. And if you pull out, see, it covers with the exact height to support this roof. So give a proper line, let's say 600. Okay, maybe not enough. Add up 200 more, which counts 800, and also same thing here. 140, 800. See, and you can build up like that. Also, same situation with the rectangle. Put it here. 140 is the section face.
As we come to the center.
And go. Okay, of course, this time you can use the number. For example, here, till this part is around the 3 meter, right? So I go 800 ahead, and now you can have the shape. The same happened in the rest part. You can continue to build up, right? Continue to build up, and then finally you give the material, and then you can finish all this decoration. Okay, and the final thing is just some of the decors. For example, the normal model, and you can put. Let's return to the design. Just wait a minute. Here, I'm just waiting for the construction redrawings. And also you can see if I want to use the other elements, you can put some of the curtain, for example, the curtain, like this. Okay, the curtains, and you can put onto it. Scale or unscale this one. Remove. Okay, 3D. Just to put, or whatever you like this also available, just to put. Okay, put in the proper position. And also in the center, just put some massage beds. Okay, those elements, they're all just from the normal model. You can just continue to put, and you can finish all this decoration. But also, if you really want some more useful way, you can try to upload some other elements like this one, okay? It contains more details, okay? So this would be another topic, but this time we just focus on to drawing out those elements by using some of the tools, okay? The tools from construction free drawing, right? And also here for the last, it's about the green decors, okay? The green decoration that's outside the border. If you want to have some better view, it's not only the inside, but also the border. You need to properly to get it decorated. For example, here, this time I might use some of the green trees to do some decor, but I also have a very useful topic, useful tips for you, because most of the time, if we want to try to get a better view, we sometimes might select to put some models, the green decors, on the border. But actually, outside the border, you can continue to put something, make it better view. Okay, just take here the sample because you can see some bamboos. So I would like to use some of the bamboo. You can see, and this time I'm not only to put inside the border. See where I want to put. That's outside, but not only outside. I need to make it very, very thin. Okay, very, very thick. So use this array, okay, to go. But don't get too far away because I need some more decors. Looks so normal. Okay, one, and continue to put, for example, bamboo. Put it like that. And also just pay attention the haze. Lower. Holding down shift button and get the array. Okay. Much thinner. There's some more. And now you can see there are so many. And also behind those bamboo, okay, behind those bamboos, you can put some more trees. Okay, the decoration. This time scale and make it bigger. Just pay attention here. Lower than, okay, you need to put lower than the 0 height in order to cover all this border. So by using this kind of elements, see, and also change some of the position, okay, change some of the direction, for example, to mirror, okay, to back and forth, make it changeable, okay, make it looking nature, okay, and then for this draft, you can put some of the the green, okay, the green shrubs, for example, to put. And the same thing here goes array. Also, don't cover fully, okay? Don't get fully covered. Just let them a little conflict, leave a little conflict, make it a line like that. All right. And if you want to put them downward, okay, by holding down that button, the control button, maybe downward a little bit. And now all this border covered. When you go render, it will not see clearly. The border will be seen clearly. And then you can have the viewing like this, okay? So this is the green decor outside the border. Sometimes don't just put inside, but outside, all right? And also for here, some very special, the Coohom pavilion, okay? And also you can see like this, they are all Coohom pavilions. And it contains a little more complicated using, but just now we will see that decker stone. You can see this one decker stone. Actually, I can also show you the same way to do it. Actually, it's exactly the same, but this time make it a little higher, much complicated, because this requires the cone shape. Okay, so how can we do it? Actually, still from the advanced tool construction. Okay, and this time, still we can't use the rounds, the circle or arc. No, can't use directly. We need to use the polygon. Still, draw here, draw a polygon. Okay, as the center circle, number of edges, see here, number of edges, turn to 60, the maximum. The radians, just around the 50 in order to let you get a better editing, don't get too small, okay? And also need to borrow one guideline. I need to mark out the center point, okay? Where's my center point? Change to work view. In work view, I can see clearly. Okay. If you can't see the exact position, don't worry. You can first to put the guideline and polygon, try to find that intersection point and 60 edges with 50 radian. Good. And now borrow one guideline at the endpoint. Use the rectangle. Still, we need to draw out the subsection. Okay, the section. This surface contains the biggest area, for example, the big area like this. Okay, that's on this surface is on the vertical way of the floor. See, and then you can use the arc, right? And to draw out in this surface, just now we will talk about it. You can't directly use this the arc line to get the loft, right? Once you delete, click this area, you can't do the lofting. See, it will disappear. So let's undo. And this time, I still need to use the line to cut them to get the subsection cut, okay? And here, click the line, one dot to another, and let them auto snap to the endpoint. Continue, endpoint, 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 endpoint. Just continue to draw, okay? Of course, you don't need to draw too small because this exactly contains the edges, okay, the changes. So after finish that, let's try. If I click these rules and let this surface go round, okay, if correct, I can have now a similar like dune, right? Last time we talked about to draw the dune, okay? But that was from the two polygons, one on the floor, the second is the section, and this time we directly use the arc to self-control, okay, to control this. And then once we finish that, just pay attention here when you use the work view. See the end center? This, they are useless, okay? This surface, they are useless. And this column, of course, I don't need that, okay? So how can we do it? Same thing. We can see via the 0 height and holding down shift button to select all these elements, okay? Select all these elements you can see the border. And if you can't see clearly, try to select the minimum surface. For example, here I try to select the minimum size, okay, and check under the 0 height. You can see now I select this one. Okay, don't select above or in other direction or holding down shift button one by one. That's too annoying. Okay, you just need to use the 0 height. Okay, choose the minimum area, to select. Holding down shift button, draw a rectangle, minimum, select and delete. See, very clean. Okay, very clean. And also on the top, same, change the view. I need this one disappear, this column disappear. Holding down shift button, select, delete, and also use the line to just draw one small border and it will return. See, okay, let's change to 3D, and now you have a better roof, right? And don't worry to don't hesitate to use the shift with the multi-select, get a group, and now you have a pure, okay, the pure roof. That's the cone roof. And to move, okay, to duplicate, for example, the distance I give 2 meter 300. Okay, that's on the top. And for the rest part, the same way to draw out, but this time you use the line. I need one button shape, for example, still endpoint to endpoint. Okay, or if you can't draw out, don't worry. If you can't draw out, endpoint. If you can't, you can just use the measure. Try to find out what exact radian is. Okay, the exact radian, or ungroup, endpoint to endpoint. Let's say if we can draw out the shape. This shape disappeared, so don't worry. Still, we have the guidelines. Use the guideline. Okay. From the point, or you can see via the bottom or the top. It will be much proper. If you had this endpoint, okay, go through the center. Or use the middle point. Use the center. This one, this line to this line. Okay, and check on the top. If this one proper, it will have the intersection point, and you can try to measure out, and now you can continue to draw out. The polygon. For example, here, intersection point, yes, just to draw out. For example, this time I need a don't need that much, 1 2 3 4 5 in total 7, 8, 9. Okay, so get 9 edges, intersection point, 9 edges or 8 edges, right? And to draw out, same, the radius, give let's say 190. Okay, and also borrow the line to the edge. Okay, just don't put on the corner, on the line. Okay, on the line, and draw out. Still, now we need a beam. We need a beam, for example, same, use the arc. Delete all this useless, right? And remember, if you go here, it's disappear. So just remember to cut, right? To cut them into phrases, different parts. And then click the roofs, loft them. See, you can now have that beam. And also holding down Shift button, double click, group them up, duplicate, point to point. Okay, try to put on the line, on the axis, and now you can you can use the distance. For example, here 2.4. It's too high. Still, go on the center 2.3. Yes, and now you can build up the beam and even continue to build up more. You can use this way. And finally, you can put the column. And for the rounds, the column, you can just directly use this one, the intersection of this round. Delete one line. Yeah, this one, intersection. A big column. So pull. Now we can have that shape. And finally, with some elements you can put onto it. And for those material, you might here just pay attention. You need to put some of the stones or some decors. Okay, that's the normal model onto it. Okay. Besides, that's all for example, concrete, the sand, or the stones. You can use the material, and here the wood. Okay. So this is the way. This is the way to build up. Just pay attention. We use the polygon, not use the circle, and use the subsection cut, remember, and then use the section face with the loft. And then you can have some of the shapes. Okay, with that tool, you can build up some of the area like this one and this one. Okay, so they're all stones. They are all just the normal models. You can just put. And even for like this one, the same thing. Just for the last lesson, we have already talked about to draw out these edges, okay, and then to get the loft. Use the loft. You can draw out the elements, okay. And also for our final things, the construction free drawing. Just remember one face, okay, one face, two sides. And if you want to put some special material, for example, the glass or the mirror, I'll give you a sample. If you put the glass bucket, this one, yeah. If you put, looking here, it would be transparency, right? The glass bucket, okay. The colored glass okay, buckle plate if you put like this. But if you see here, still it's not transparent. So you need that two sides. You need two sides with the same material, and now you can have here like that. This is very special. Just pay attention when you use the glass material or some other, all right? And then you can build up this, okay? So for more construction drawing, you can try like this, and you can try some more elements. And I believe you've seen before, like this one. And for villa, the design, still the same. The draw outside room as the terrace, okay? And remember to adjust the height, okay? Construction for those walls, and finish the finishing and furniture as the previous one we learned. So you can try to build some of the decorations like that. And also, if you go to render, if you want to go to render, just pay attention. Try to use here. This is the elements that maybe in the dawn or in the early evening. Try to use the render that contains the ambient lights, the indoor night, or with our outdoor, okay, outdoor reality. You can use this one. And also select a proper area, okay, with some of the ambient lights. You need to lower that, even 2 or 3, much lower. And then get a cool tone, because if you want to get a proper view, you need a better view. You can put some of the lights, and those lights, see, they are all very warm. So you can use these lights to make it a better view that is have some contrast. Okay, you can have some more contrast with the light color, because here the light is the yellow, very warm. The outside area, most of the time we need to lower them, okay, to cold. So just pay attention the difference, okay? Ambient lights much lower, and you can draw out. Also here, this I didn't put some of the better the light bulbs, so I need to go to customize. Still the same, okay? Outdoor reality night, confirm, and to put some of the very small, the field light or the spotlight. Okay, for this case, I can use some spotlights on the beam, right, to put onto it. But also just pay attention here, the center, you need that ornament light, one of the ornament light, this one, ornament light to put, because here for the center, you need to light them up. Okay, very warm, very high, with the brightness, the haze, and this one the same. Just to put, okay, at each corner, you can also put continue, put, okay, to check if it is on the proper position. All right. And we can try some of the render. Although I didn't finish all this, okay, you can just try to use the same logic. Okay, that's too bright. I need them down. Okay, you can select the proper one, which you feel like is normal. Just pay attention here. since we finish all these sides of the decor, you can cover the horizon with those decor, and it will look much better. So this is some of the useful skills that for you. Okay, so for those night render, just pay attention here. First, of course, the ambient lights, the format, you need to give a better view, and also see the difference. For indoor, you need some lights that represent the warm feeling. Okay, and also for the same thing here, for the same scenario, you need some lights. Okay, human may, okay, this is the light, and the outside area all turn to very cold. You need that. And also the brightness, indoor brightness, you can adjust, okay, to lower the effect setting, enhance. Okay, and also here the tone, cold or nature, don't get warm. Okay, and for those environment brightness, this is control the outside picture. Okay, it doesn't have any reflection on your showing your design case. So this is only outside. I personally suggest you don't change them, or the maximize only 0.8 is okay, lower than that. Okay, no lower than that. And this ambient light brightness will control all these elements. I show you one. If I just choose higher ambient lights, what might happen? Okay, no adjustment, and you can see the detail. So see here the default setting, right? And of course you can see this one, since it's very low. Okay, so it doesn't contain the detail. And here I didn't give, because the time I didn't give the material. If you give the material, it much proper. And also here the lights, please pay attention. It's very pale. It's very just on the white color. So change it. You need to change them to the proper one. For example, to change to warmer, right? And also duplicate to give them, and also this one, warmer, save, get a render. Let's get a comparison. And also here, if you feel like this is very dark, you also want something, you want some color, you can put some of the rectangular lights, still a little warm, okay, a little warm. The brightness lower to 200 and put them onto it. Just pay attention here, put onto this area. Don't get too low, because you don't want to see the contrast on the floor. But you can do some of the duplicate, for example, duplicate, okay? And also, if you want some lights underwater, you can use this one, volumetric light, okay? For example, give the multi-beam, or this one, good. But just pay attention here. Since we dig the hole, so you can't put them lower than the hole. So if you want to have some lights like that, you need to build upward, okay? Which means all these elements will be show up. So this is unable to put downward too much. Just pay attention here, right? But if you want to, of course, you can put some of the light models. Okay, your light models downward and save. And let's see. Got the render, not the adjustment. Waiting for this one. And this, if changed, it will look much better. Yeah, just remember to give some of the material. Okay, give the material. This one, just wait for the render. Set video. For video render, actually, if you select the correct light format, you can also have the path actually. Get a preview. Okay, just remember here the same thing. When you click a video here, same thing shows the ambient lights. You need to select what what you've done before. That's the reality light format. You need to go render. Just pay attention here, the same thing. Okay, so that's why what we call the video is the last thing we do, because beforehand we need to make sure our manually customized slides set properly and our elements finished, and also the environment selected the proper elements, and get the outcome. Okay, get a proper outcome, the render proper. Just wait a second here. Same thing. If you get a proper render, the panorama or the picture is correct, and you can have also the correct outcome of the video. So that's the same. Okay, the same scenario. Okay. If here you put some more material, you will see much better view, because today we don't have that much time, so I didn't put those material, and you can put them and make it better, since here just 1K, very basic. And here later you can see, because we put some lights, it will light up, right? And you can see the water. I believe if you put them into a better view, you'll see much better. Just wait a second, here is loading. Okay. From view, get a refresh, wait a second. So for this part, you can have this, okay, you can have this rebuild of garden or spa resort. Here actually is a kind of spa resort. Okay, you can also try to build some of the elements. That's all for this design case. And just use time to refill it, okay, to renew it, make it better. You can see here, but also just remember, you need time to build some of the elements. You need time to refine it. And for the last, because we are talking about exterior, this room, if you have time, you can build up, or if you don't, just try to find some building or the villa. Okay, you can put some of the elements here and make it better, with a better view. So this is the practice guidance after class. You can try to build one. It's very standard, and actually it's a kind of a sample to use our tools. Okay, especially this time I told you that actually is the maximum of the tool. to use the construction free drawing and to cut the face. Okay, to use the section face, turn to the phrases, turn to different subsections, and get the lofting. Okay, and that's all for today. So if you have any questions, you can ask, and hope we can see next time with much more cases, design cases, and you can do a better view, better looking. So if no other questions, I might end today's lesson. Okay.